welcome to the Honeybee Knits podcast channel. My name is Melissa and I'm coming to you from Springboro, Ohio, where I live with my husband, our dog, and our 2 cats. Today is Sunday, January 25th, and it is a rainy, snowy day outside. I have been super productive this morning. I got up and took a shower. I cleaned out my litter boxes. Not that you guys care about that, but I cleaned up my loft some more, which is great, so I can check it off the list for the time being. Eventually, this desk that I cannot seem to keep organized will be going away, as well as my computer and my printer, and I'll be using my husband's computer and printer, and I'm going to put a small sewing table in here so it'll take up less room and stay organized, because right now it is a hot mess express. But anyway, I hope you guys have had a wonderful few weeks. I have plans later today. Jason's at class right now. He takes jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai classes throughout the week, and when he gets home he'll be getting a shower, and then we are going to be going to Columbus to visit the German village. I'm taking him to Schmidt's for his birthday dinner. I am not huge on German food, even though I am German, but Jason loves it, even though he's Polish. And they have a pretty good German buffet, but the main thing that I love that they have is the cream puffs, which are amazing. So I will be getting one of those to take home with us. But anyway, so that is our plans for today, as long as the roads don't get too slick. Right now it's kind of like a wet snow, where it's not quite snow, but it's not quite rain. And yeah, so that's the plans for today. It has been a busy couple of weeks, both with work and with knitting, and I've got a few things to talk about today. I think today's episode will probably be under an hour. I have 5 finished objects. I have a few acquisitions. I have some giveaway announcements. And I also have my knitting planner that I brought up to share kind of how I'm going about organizing my knitting for the year. And I do want to share with you my 2019 knitting stats, but it's going to have to be in a different video because I'm limited on recording time, and I know I can tend to go off on a tangent when it comes to organizing your knitting. So that'll be in the next video. But to kick this video off, in the last video I asked you guys what you do to stay organized, and I drew a winner. You will receive a project bag that was donated to the podcast, as well as I believe I said a skein of yarn. I'll have to go back and watch the video to see what that giveaway is exactly. But I did pull a winner, and the winner is Whitney Labbe, L-A-B-B-E. And she said, I use Instagram and Revelry to keep me on track, they're both great tools. There were a lot of great suggestions, so if you're looking for ways to keep on track, make sure you go check out the comment section in the last video. Speaking of knitting, organizing, I talked about in my last podcast how I wanted to be a monogamous knitter because I want to get my whips done so that I can start knitting some of the stash stuff that I have. And it's been going really great, but so far all I've worked on are socks, so smaller projects. But I was thinking, as I get into some of the bigger projects that are going to take longer, I was like thinking, hopefully I don't fail, because I tend to get bored really fast. So I was afraid that I'm afraid that I'm gonna get bored with the project and then end up casting something new on, which I'm trying to avoid. But Wool and Honey put up a great blog post this week about a method that they use to kind of manage their whips. And what it is you take 5 whips and you kind of put them in a rotation and you order them, and then you spend 12 knitting hours on each whip. So, and you have to either finish the whip or finish your 12 hours before you can move to the next one. And you keep cycling through until they're finished. Now, as you finish one, you could bring another one in, or you could just cycle through those that you have left. And I think that's a great idea. So once I get done with my Advents, and my goals for getting that done, I think that that's what I might do, because I, off the top of my head, I can think of a few things that I want to finish pretty quickly. One of them is my Cozy Memories blanket, one is my Speckle Pop Wrap, and one is my dishcloths for the year. I want to knit through my dishy stash. So I think I'll do that, and then I'll pull 2 more whips from the whip jar and add that to the kind of rotation, and then I will just keep track of the amount of time I spend on each project, and then after 12 hours of knitting time, I will move on to the next one until they're done. So I think that's a great method, and I'm going to try it out and see how it works, but I wanted to mention that to anybody else who might be interested in that as well, especially since we were talking about how you organize your projects. And I mean, I only have 20 some whips, so if I did that a few times, then all my whips would be knit up. So the next knit along or giveaway announcement that I have is for the knit-a-thon weekend that we had last weekend. And I announced the Instagram winner on Instagram, but I'm going to go ahead and announce the Ravelry winner here. And the winner was post number 6, and her username is IMERMD. I'm not sure how to say that. And her name is Tina from California. So congratulations, Tina. If you get a hold of me, I will send me your, and also for the comment winner, send me your information on Ravelry. And I am Melissa1308, and I will get that package to you in the mail. So places you can find me on Instagram as honey_bee_knits, on Ravelry as Melissa1308, and in the Ravelry podcast group, Honeybee Knits Podcast. You can also currently find me on Etsy as honeybeenitsco.etsy.com. It's easier to find me if you use Google rather than Etsy. Little tip. And everything in my shop right now is 30% off. I am basically closing down my Etsy shop for the time being. I say for the time being because I do want to sell out all the inventory in there, and I want to change my home around so that it's not, so for example, in my kitchen, I want to put all my dye stuff in storage. In my inventory room, I want to put all my grid walls away. And then in the loft, I already mentioned I want to put my computer and printer away, my desk away, and get rid of it. So I am looking to completely exit out of the India dyer business as of right now. There may be times when I am dyeing up yarn for myself, and I might ask if anybody wants to do a custom order. That way I can get my yarn cheaper and do a bulk order, and they could, you know, come up with their own colorway or pick one of my previous colorways. And then of course I dye in batches of 3, so if any are left over, I might occasionally put those extras up on sale on Instagram or Ravelry. But for the most part, I am choosing to use that time to focus on me and myself and my health. I've gotten so many questions on Instagram lately, and apparently those people don't watch the podcast, because I feel like I've given a lot of explanation, and I'm not quite sure why there are so many questions about me closing, why I'm closing, and how I came to my decision. But if you missed that podcast, I think it was 2 full episodes ago, not the Vlogmas, but 2 full episodes ago. So if you're interested in hearing how I came to my decision, you can go watch that video. I think there was a lot of confusion because at the time that I made the announcement, I wasn't quite sure if I was going to be stopping dyeing altogether or if I was going to be dyeing once a month. And I think I had said I was going to dye once a month, but being away from the dye pots recently has given me so much more time to focus on my health and my knitting and my family, and I don't miss it, to be honest. So until I have that feeling of, oh, I miss doing that, it's not going to be a part of my life. So unless it's for selfish reasons. So there is that. So if you want something, go check out the shop. I don't have a whole lot left, but there is a bit left. I have about a grid wall and a half worth of yarn and fiber. And it is 30% off until tomorrow. So go take a look. So I think it's time to jump right in to finished objects. I don't have any whips because I've been monogamous. I have 5 pair of socks that I finished this week. So let me just show you. Pair of shorties and 5 full-length socks. And I'm just going to go through them all. So the first pair of socks that I finished all these were started and finished this month. So holy crap. I am so over socks, and I will not be doing them again until at least March. I'm going to take a month-long break from socks. But so this is my first sock, and this is I believe this colorway is called Merry Knitmas, and it was my 2018 full skein colorway for my advent calendars. And this is the Gravel Socks pattern by Mina Phillip from her Beyond Vanilla recipe sock, Beyond Vanilla Socks Part 1. And actually all 4 of these full-length socks are from that collection, and it is 4 patterns, so I knit an entire collection of socks. So it's kind of hard to tell with the patterning on the camera, but in person you can definitely see it's basically a broken rib stitch. They were a lot of fun to knit up. Typically my socks I use a 60 row stitch count, but for these they called for 58 or 64. And I went with 64. I'm not quite sure why now looking back, because 58 is closer to the 60. But I did, and they'll either just be slouchy socks for me or they might be gift socks for somebody else. But I really like how they knit up. My second pair of socks is, I believe, the Cobblestone Socks from that same collection. All my sock blockers are from Knitting Left, by the way. And I really love how these turned out. I love the pattern. I love the yarn. I think it was the perfect combination. This yarn is my full skein from the 2018 Suburban Stitcher Advent Calendar. So I was able to use up a lot of that. And I also wanted to mention I did afterthought heels on all of these socks. So yeah, so I really like those. We're going to fly through today's knitting content. And I think this podcast will probably only be a half hour long today. And then these ones are let's see, we had Gravel, we had Cobblestone. No, these are the Gravel. The first one are the Pebble socks. These are Pebble. Then Cobblestone, and then these are Gravel. And this is my full skein from the 2019 Honeybee Nuts Advent Calendar. And I actually do have a full skein of this left. So I forgot to ask the giveaway question for this week, but I will ask that at the end of the podcast, so stay tuned. And I will be giving away a full skein of this colorway, as well as a project bag that I made. So stay tuned for that at the end of the podcast. So there are my Gravel socks. And last but not least, I finished these last night. None of these have been washed and blocked, and these ones did seem to turn out a little bit bigger. I'm not sure why, but these are the Driftwood socks. And this yarn is, I participated in the Indie Dyer. I'm going to show you both sides because of the way the yarn pulled on them. So it kind of ended up like being opposite socks, which is kind of cool. So this yarn is the colorway that I had dyed up for the Indie Dyer Advent swap. And I made a full skein of it for myself, so I knit it up into a pair of socks. So all of my full skeins for my Advents have been knit into socks, which is super exciting. And that's something that was stressing me out all year for the 2018 Advents is I kept saying, I really want to make those socks. I really want to make those socks from those full skeins. And I never got around to it in 2019. So it feels good to get that done first thing in 2020 and then just be done with it, which is why my next 2 projects that I plan to work are from my Advent calendars that I have left over, because I want them done. I don't want them weighing on my mind, and then I will jump into my whips. So the next 2 projects are going to be with my Indie Dyer Advent swap that I did. I'm going to be knitting the ornaments from the first and second collection from Christy from Yarn Cafe Creations for my Christmas tree for next year. And I have 20 grams, so I should be able to get both ornaments knit up and have some left over for a scrappy, like a scrappy blanket or something. And then my last project for Advents will be, I'm turning my Gale's Art sock blanks into a faded sweater. So this is my last pair of socks that I knit. I had some yarn, I had 2 20 gram minis left over from the Honeybee Knits 2019 Advent calendar, and they did not fit into my sweater, so I just made a mismatched pair of socks, a pair of shorty socks, and I used my leftovers from my main skein as cuffs, heels, and toes, and then used the mini as the main color. And I really love how it turned out. And I had a bit left of each, all 3 of them, and I thought about trying to make another pair, but I don't think I have quite enough, and I'm over socks. So I think those are just going to go into the scrap pile, of getting it into a scrappy blanket or something like that at some point, but there they are. For my knitting finished objects, and like I said, I don't have any whips to show this week. So I'm gonna jump right into acquisitions, and I have a few. So my first acquisition is stuff that I got in December that I forgot to share with you guys. So first of all, my mom has made some bags for the shop, and they are in the shop now. And she made me a bag. So this is the Grinch bag, and I believe this is her medium size bag. It might be her large, but I have talked to her, and she is going to be making some non-Christmas ones. So right now all we have in the shop are Grinch. And by the way, for as long as my mom's making bags, they will be in my Etsy shop. So even though I'm not dyeing yarn, they will be in there. So but I don't take any of her profits. They all go to her. She used to be a professional seamstress, and this is something that she's wanted to do, and eventually I might help set her up with her own Etsy shop, but for right now I'm just going to be having them in mine. But they are great quality bags. The interfacing is like very pliable, so you can squish it, but it's but it's also firm to where it will stand up on its own and it won't wrinkle. So I really love this bag. So for my birthday, she made me one, and she also made me and I'm also going to ask her if she wants to make some of these for the shop, some bowl cozies. So you can put your bowl in here, and it's Elf on the Shelf fabric, but you can put your bowl in here before you microwave it, and then when you take it out of the microwave, it won't burn your hands. And these are some of my favorite things. I have a set of 2. My other set is already downstairs. My other one is already downstairs being made or being used. So, and she's also made me some rice packs where you can heat them up in the microwave or freeze them and use them for like muscle sores and headaches and stuff. So she gave me that, and then she also found this honey dispenser for me. Super cute. And she gave me this honeybee necklace, and some of these, she's a nurse, so she had some of these pins, and they're like emojis, and then when you open them up, they're pins, but they look like giant pill capsules. So she gave me a few of those because she knows I like stationery. So there's that, and these are in the shop currently. She has 3 different Grinch prints, and then she's also planning some non-Christmassy fabrics, and then also she's making the bags, each of the bags a little bit taller. So the small ones will be a little bit taller, mediums will be a little bit taller, large will be a little bit taller, and she's planning out an extra large bag for sweater quantities. She also made me this bag. Now this is one of a kind. She probably won't be repeating this. I don't think she will be, but look at it. It's so cute. So it has handles, first of all, which is nice. It's a nice little tote. It's about the same size as the other one. And when you open it up, she put these wonderful pockets in here. And they're large pockets too. So I really like those. So I don't think this is something that she's going to be repeating for the shop. I will make sure to double check with her. But for now, I'm lucky enough to have this one-of-a-kind project bag that I really love. So that is that. And then I have two, oh, there, it fell. I have two Yarny acquisitions to show. The first one I hinted to on my last podcast. This one had already been ordered. I ordered from Lobby Anime. This was on my Christmas list and it wasn't in stock when Jason purchased my Christmas gift from them, which he bought me the Dotted Rays kit. So when I saw it came back in stock, I purchased it. So, but I also got some enamel pins with it. So I got this twill and print Sweater Weather Forever. And I think I have a version of this, but I really liked the yellow one that they had. I got the Golden Snitch pin from Shelly Can, I believe. Is that Shelly Can? Yeah. And then another Lobby Anime pen because I want all of them. And then I purchased the Vertices Unites kit. So there that is. Really beautiful. I've had such an infatuation with yarn kits and pins lately. I bought another yarn kit the other night. I don't know what I'm thinking, but you know, it'll get used eventually. But I purchased from Spin Cycle, and I purchased some enamel pins. I got Don't Leave Me This Way pin. I got their logo pin. And I got Stash Queen because yes. And I also got this one for many reasons, but yeah. So I got those, and I ordered, I can't remember the name of the shawl off the top of my head, but it's an Andrea Mowry shawl. Go figure. Oh no, it's actually not an Andrea Mowry shawl. Oh, I can't remember the name of it, and I don't have a way to look it up. But this is the kit. So it's basically like this is the main color, and then you fade this, and there's like an interesting stitch definition where you, it kind of looks like sort of like a honeycomb texture at the bottom with those colors in the middle, and it's really pretty. So I ordered that as well. And then I have an Andrea Mowry kit coming from Lobby Anime. I need to stop. So there may or may not be one more purchase in my future, depending on, in February, depending on, oh, also I ordered the Artemis Yarns mini kit for the Fade into Advent wrap, which was a dyed to order listing. And I think I had ordered that right before or right after my last podcast, so that's coming. I'm just like kit crazy right now. It's been horrible. But there's a lot of great patterns that recently came out. So the last thing I want to talk about today is my Knitter's Planner. This I purchased from, I think it's knittersplanner.com, and on Instagram they're the Knitter's Planner. So this is the one I chose. And I did get all the accessories. Now this accessory is from Happy Planner. I think I got it at Joann's. It was on my old planner. And I just wanted to show you kind of how I organize. So first off, I got the horizontal spread that starts on a Monday, and it looks a hot mess to you guys, but it makes total sense to me. And essentially what I do is I plan out every Monday morning or Sunday evening. I will plan out the week ahead, and I will put bullet points. So just an example of what my Monday looked like this week. I was off of work, so I didn't have any work meetings on there, but if I did have work meetings, I would put it on there. So I had bulleted the list to fill out my planner, and I just put little squares for check boxes. So fill out my planner, walk 2 miles, clean the house, organize the loft, finish scrappy socks, package orders, go to the post office, read 50 pages, shower, make dinner, and play 1 hour of my game. And as I went through my week, or as I went through the day, I just checked off that stuff. Now, these are goals of things I want to do that day, but it doesn't mean that I'll always finish in that day. So if I don't finish them, they just get moved to another day. And then these are these little tabs that came with the planner, with the accessories package. And it has a permanent marker that you write on it. And then each week you can take and it doesn't smudge at all. And you take a little cloth with alcohol in it at the end of the week and wipe it all off and it comes off. So I have my things to do list. So this week I had walk 5 days, which I did. So I checked that off. Play 5 hours on my game, which I did not. I haven't played any of my game because I haven't had time, but that's fine. I will get caught up on it this weekend. Finish my Indie Dyer Advent socks, check. Finish 2019 Scrappy socks, check. Start my Indie Dyer Advent. I haven't checked it off yet because I'm going to start that and work on it today and tomorrow. Buy my plane tickets. We're going on a cruise. So I need to buy plane tickets. I have not done that yet because we need to talk to Jason's parents, and I have a feeling this is going to be on my to-do list for next week. And then clean loft, checked that off. Podcast, I'm going to be checking that off when I'm done. Install our doorbell. Probably not again, something that's going to happen next week. It was supposed to happen last weekend, but Jason was sick. And then this weekend, we're just too busy. And then read 250 pages, which I finished yesterday, so I checked that off. Then I have my habit tracker at the bottom. So these are just some personal goals that I want to do each week, each day of the week. So I have my 3 different pills that I have to take on there. So I can check them off as I take them, make sure that I don't miss a dose. I have drink 75 ounces of water and walk 7,500 steps because my goal right now is to walk 7,500 steps a day until I can work my way back up to the 10,000 steps a day. Then on the back of that, I'm just going to take this out because it's easier to show you. So it has a personal to-do list and a knitting to-do list. And I actually are using this list as more of a cue. So instead of writing on there, do this, do this, do this, I have already done that on this side. So on this side, I've used my personal to-do list actually as my book cue. So I have the books that I want to read in the order I want to read them. And as I finish one, I will check them off. So these were, and then at the end of the month, I will erase the ones I checked, move the ones that I didn't finish up, and then add more to that list. And the same deal with the knitting. As you can see, I've gotten much more done on my knitting list than I did on my book list. So the only thing left on my knitting list is my Indie Dyer Advent and my Gales Art Advent. So in February, at the end of this week, I will be erasing all of that, just adding Indie Dyer Advent, Gales Art Advent, and then adding in my whips in the order that I would like to complete them in. And then it also comes with a shopping list and a meal planner. So the meal planner I haven't really gotten to using quite yet. I just kind of generally put down an idea of what I think we want to eat that night, but we really haven't been sticking to it very much. And I'm not too worried about that. But I do have my shopping list. So at the top I had my Artemis yarn kit because I knew she was doing a release in January and I wanted to plan to buy that. I got a new nicer looking table tray for my downstairs. I have not yet purchased, I want to redo the decoration, not the decorations, but like the toiletries and stuff in our bathrooms, well, I guess it is decorations. So like the towels and the mats and the shower curtains, things like that. So I have not bought those yet, so they're still on my list. Pantry organization, I want to buy things to help keep my pantry organized. So like can racks and things like, and cereal containers and dog food containers, things like that. So it's on my list. It's in my Amazon wish list, and each time I get paid, I will take like $100 from our account and I will buy stuff that's on that wish list that I would like to have for the house. So I will just keep those on this list until I buy those. And then my federal ID I went and got. I need to get my passport when my federal ID comes in. I got my January new releases for books. Jason's birthday gift, I can actually check that off now because we bought it together last night. We need to get our water heater fixed. That's on there. I need to pay my state sales tax for the quarter. That's on here, which I should probably do that on Monday. Plane tickets we need to buy, so I'll, oh, is plane tickets on here twice? No, that was on my to-do list for the week. That's something I wanted to buy. And then I have, the last couple items are for our cruise, because we're like planning our cruise. So I have plane tickets, our drink package, our hotel for the night that we're going to be in Miami, Cayman excursion, Cozumel excursion. So as we save up money for the cruise, I can start buying those things and checking them off the list. So the goal this week was to save the money for the plane tickets, which I did. But I need to talk to his parents before I actually book the flight, so I haven't booked it yet this week. But so next week I will be marking more things off the list because it is a pay week. So I'll be buying $100 worth of organizational stuff for the house, and then probably buying the hotel and drink package for the cruise. And then one more pay period and we'll have our excursions booked, and then we'll be all set. Everything will be paid for. The only thing we'll have to buy when we get down there is Uber to the airport from the to the hotel from the airport, and then from the hotel to the cruise port, and then from the cruise port to the airport. So we'll have to do that, and then we'll have to buy any souvenirs that we want. And also they have some specialty restaurants on the ship, so if we want to try any of those, that will cost extra. But other than that, everything will be paid for in advance because we have been planning and saving and purchasing slowly instead of just, you know, not making a plan. So this has been really helpful for me financially. Also in here, I put my goals in here. So I am trying to lose 2 pounds a week, which I have been doing right now. And I think it's okay to put that goal in here until I hit about the 20-pound loss mark. Once I get to that, I'm going to have to change what my goal is for the week, because keeping it weight-based is difficult when in the beginning you always lose super fast and then it starts to slow down. So I don't want to always measure my success on the scale. But my goal is to lose 20 pounds before the cruise. So until then, it is 2 pounds per week. So, so I have been walking more. I have been walking 2 miles. I've tried to walk 2 miles 5 days a week, which I've done. This is the first week that I successfully completed it. Last week I did 3 days. So this week I did 5 days. I have been, you know, my habit tracker has been helping me keep track of my water and showing me like where I can improve. It's basically a reminder instead of me just waiting until I get off work and being like, oh, I should have been drinking water all day. I look at my to-do list for the day. I'm like, I need to drink my water. So I go and get a cup of water to start off the day. And I find that once I start drinking water early in the morning, that it's easier to keep up with it throughout the day, because as soon as it's empty, the next time I get up to go to the bathroom or, you know, make food or something, I get another glass. So, yeah, so it's been really, really helping me stay on track. Also, another thing that I do is when I start a book, I have these fun little planner stickers that I use, and I'll put started and which book I started on that date. And then when I finish a book, I'll put finished and what book I finished on that date. So I can keep track of when I started and finished things. And I also do that with finished projects. So yesterday I finished my Indie Dyer Advent socks. So I wrote it down and then I highlighted it. So I know that that's the day that I finished it. And then also these things I will say are going to wear out. They're already having issues staying in, even when I'm not flopping around like that. So that's something to be aware of. But I also have, I might end up just cutting the ends off so they don't snag and stick them in that week as a bookmark, because I think it might work out better. And then also I have my projects page where I have listed all of my whips and cast-ons that I want to do. So currently from here, so these ones with the date, those are the ones that I finished so far this year. I have some over here and some over here. So these are all my languishing whips right here. This one, I'm not sure why I put it on here because I had already finished those a while ago. So these are all my, so I had crossed it out, but all the other ones are languishing whips. And then over here, I have my Indie Dyer Advent and my Gail's Art Advent that I want to finish before I start working on this whip list. So I just have everything marked down, and then when I finish it, I just put the date that I finished next to it. So far in January, I have finished 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 projects. I have finished Jason's Tabiana Socks number 1. I have finished Jason's Tabiana Socks number 2. I finished my Jimmy Beans Advent, my HBK Advent Socks from 2018, my Suburban Stitcher Advent Socks from 2018, my HBK Scrappy Socks, my HBK Advent Socks from 2020, and then my Indie Dyer Advent Socks from 2020. So I have finished quite a few projects already this year, so I'm really happy with that progress. And then I also have another one of these little bookmark things, and this one is a handy gauge ruler. So it's clear, so you can just hold it up to your gauge swatch and it'll tell you if it's like 4 stitches per inch, 4.5 stitches, so you can line up the stitches. So you can line up the stitches with your gauge ruler, and it'll tell you how many stitches per inch you have, so you don't actually have to try to focus your eyes to count them. So that is what I've been using to keep organized. Jason's home now, and I think that is all I wanted to show today. So it was a short episode, but I promise I will be back soon with more. The question for this week is, so last time we talked about knitting organization, so why don't you tell me about some of your knitting goals for 2020? What are your plans for 2020 in the comments below, and you will be entered in to win a full skein of my 2019 Honeybee Knits Advent Calendar colorway. So, all right, well, thank you guys for joining me today. I hope you guys have a wonderful couple weeks, and I will see you again soon. Bye.